Welcome to a Fat Monk bonus episode. A short take on things Taoist. Written by Xiaoyao Xingzhe and read by Nick Dent.
Master Nan discusses Zhuge Liang's letter to my son. Master Nan Huaijin is a very influential author of books in Chinese and English. While most of his works remained in Chinese, several excellent ones have been translated into English, notably by J.C. Cleary. He is unusual in being thoroughly versed in the schools of Vajrayana Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, and Chan Buddhism, and is thus able to express realizations in a wide variety of ways not encumbered by sectarian limitations. Zhuge Liang was a famous strategist at the end of the Han Dynasty as China entered the period of the Warring States. Portrayed as one of the prominent and colorful characters in Sān Guó Yǎn Yì, the romance of the Three Kingdoms, Zhuge is the ideal of Confucian statesmanship. Yet, at the same time, he was spoken of quite seriously as a Taoist celestial, who chose to return to the world of men to assist the reordering of a chaotic world. Here is the text of the letter he wrote to his 7-year-old son while he was away working. In Shu, today's Sichuan, Zhuge Liang advised his son by letter. The practice of a cultivated man is to refine the self by quietude and develop virtue by frugality. Without serenity, there is no way to get far. Without detachment, there is no way to clarify the will. If you wish to learn, you must be serene. To become accomplished, you must study. Without study, you will not broaden your abilities. Without strength of will, you will not attain knowledge. If you are arrogant and lazy, you will not achieve excellence. If you are impetuous and impulsive, you cannot govern your nature. The years run off with the hours, aspirations flee with the years. Eventually, one ages and collapses. What good will it do to lament over poverty? The rest of the episode will consist of Master Nan's discussion of Zhuge Liang's letter to his son. If you want to learn refinement, Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, or Zen are all equally valuable. Remember, if you can return to normal life after this half hour and maintain the spirit and energy we had here, then you are truly talking learning and refinement. The first lines of Confucius's Da Xue, the highest order of cultivation, say, the way of self-cultivation at its highest level is a threefold path. It lies in causing the light of one's inner moral force to shine forth, in bringing the people to a state of renewal, and in coming to rest in the fullest attainment of the good. Only when one comes to understand this point of rest can one reach a state of unwavering stability. Having reached this unwavering state, one can then enjoy an unruffled quietude. Having attained this state of quietude, one can then achieve an inner calm. Once one has achieved this inner calm, one is then in a position to exercise one's capacity to deliberate clearly. And it is the capacity of deliberation that provides the basis for all moral attainment. Just as all existing things have, by definition, both a fundamental core and peripheral aspects, their roots and branches, so too all human affairs have their endings as well as their beginnings. To grasp fully the grounds for the proper sequential ordering of things from first to last is a precondition for coming closer to the way. That's what Confucius says. But the first step in this great learning, Master Nan says, is to teach sons, younger brothers, and later generations that they should learn the skill of stopping in quietude. Zhuge Liang's famous letter. This is the reason that I have, Master Nan says, for a number of decades, brought up Zhuge Liang's Jiezi Shu. Zhuge Liang is not a Taoist, he is completely a Confucian. The essence of his life of study and learning is in that letter to his son. As always, he himself was still at the front, leading the troops, and all of his instruction for his 7-year-old son is contained in one letter. How many times have I discussed this over the past decades? Who among you can completely recite the letter from memory? Here's a quote. "The practice of a cultivated man is to refine the self by quietude and develop virtue by frugality." Seeking for quietude is the refinement of self. Our present practice of meditation is to just learn this jing, internal calm. Here's the next statement. Without detachment, there is no way to clarify the will. Without serenity, there is no way to get far. This encapsulates the learning of Confucius, Buddha, and the Tao. If you wish to learn, you must be serene. To seek for learning requires the practice of settled quiet, the study of serenity. Zhuge Liang admonished his son, "To become accomplished, you must study." Whatever you choose to do in life, whether it is business or government or anything, one will only have ability if one has searched out knowledge. His letter, his essay, is very simple, although the knowledge Zhuge Liang had gathered over his life was so vast. All we have left of it after 2,000 years are the 2 memorials to the young emperor and this letter. Everyone forgets because his letter is so brief, and while he was so knowledgeable, he was occupied in dealing with affairs of state, that when he wrote this letter, he could only write several simple, clear sentences. But in those sentences, there is a great deal of learning. If you wish to learn, you must be serene. To become accomplished, you must study. Your innate talents depend on study to bring them out from within. Here's his next quote. Without study, you will not broaden your abilities. You need to have a grasp of every type of learning, be it religion, philosophy, science, commerce, economics, finance, sociology, or education. Otherwise, your talents will not reach their full expression. He also says, without strength of will, you will not attain knowledge. In the search for knowledge, the first requirement is learning to be settled and quiet. Many of you have gained your PhDs or studied overseas and returned, but your state of mind is not even a little bit calm, and thus your knowledge is not great. I'm talking to you young people who are actually now over middle age. All of you great professors, renowned doctors, all of you are my old students, and I'm scolding you. I'm invariably polite to outsiders, but now I am reproaching you amongst my old students. Pay attention to the line that says, if you are arrogant and lazy, you will not achieve excellence. Several decades now you have been slothful, not exerting yourselves. Too much empty talk, too many banquets, too much bragging. Lazy, disrespectful, haughty, and full of yourselves, you achieve a little and think it's fantastic. Arrogant and lazy, you will not achieve excellence. I memorized this letter while I was in my teens, and I've used it all my life. When I was at the military college for officers, everyone was strictly required to memorize this letter before being allowed to lead troops. If you regard every word of it as gold, it has great power. Zhuge says, if you are impetuous and impulsive, you cannot govern your nature. What is impetuous? Lack of patience? Looking for the easy way all the time? You hear something and automatically assume you understand. Taking risks, flighty and rash, not at all stable and peaceful, and utterly unrefined. Zhuge Liang warned his son to take care not to be this way. Impulsive likewise prevents an ordering of your nature, and will make you unable to learn how to clear your mind and perceive your essence. The refinement of the mind cannot be accomplished by craft or rashly. If you want to achieve great things, there is a certain method to be followed. You can't just flippantly play around and think you're clever. The word impulsive in Chinese, zao, has a foot radical implying jumpiness or flightiness. What he is saying to his son are crucial aspects of education and cultivation. Zhuge Liang says, the years run off with the hours. Time flies and we age. Time is like a wild horse, hard to catch and hard to hold. Zhuge also says, aspirations flee with the years. All of the hopes and dreams of our lives, our intentions, our will, all age with us. We get old and lose our courage. Zhuge says, eventually one ages and collapses. He directs his son to study well, because he will be old before he knows it, like a dried-up leaf, soon to fall. Zhuge finishes, what good will it do to lament over poverty? Once you are old, looking back in regret, it's too late, and there is no road left to travel. There is a Tang poem that has the line, youth and strength not exerted lead to old age spent in vain sorrow. This is based on the same concept. When I taught in university, the Central Military College, the very first assignment for the very first class would always be for the students to memorize this letter. It expresses the aim and goal of Confucian and Taoist education in Chinese culture. I can still recite it perfectly for you all now, all of you who call me teacher. But who among you, men, women, young or old, can do it? I never imagined that the whole class would come up with a great big 0. I've mentioned this many times in my books, you know. Go and memorize it.
Thank you for listening to the Fat Monk Podcast, produced by Ben Thomas with music by Flora Carbo. Please like and subscribe, and go to the show notes for links and further content. If you'd like to become a material supporter of the podcast, click on the coffee button at the bottom of the show notes.